Wild elephant recognizes woman who saved his life years ago. Elephants are gentle giants who, just like humans, can feel a wide range of emotions. It is well known that they have very good memories, but would this memory be enough to recognize a person decades later? Watch the video to the end, because it will amaze you. Daphne Henkins was born on a large logging farm outside the village of Gilgil, Kenya, when she was 6 years old. She visited a nature reserve with her father for the first time. From that day on, Daphne knew that animals were a passion. After seeing how incredible it was to be around beautiful and majestic animals all day long, the young girl decided that she wanted to spend her future helping helpless animals. She wanted to give them a place where they were safe. Later, the young woman graduated from school at the top of her class and even received a scholarship for medicine. Such an offer did not come often and was a unique opportunity for young Kenyans to break out of the poor conditions, but Daphne refused in order to pursue her dream soon after she met her future husband, David Sheldrick. He was the founding director of the Tsavo National Park and just as passionate about animals as she is. The two fell in love and married. It wasn't long before she became co-leader of the reservation. Working there and caring for the various wild animals was like a dream come true for Daphne. She and David helped save many wild animals, especially elephants that were orphaned. The parents of the animals often died due to the current drought or various diseases. However, they were often killed by poachers who hunted these animals to get their infamous tusks, which they sold for a lot of money in the ivory trade. Daphne and her husband cared for the young animals and taught them useful skills until they were mature enough to be released back into the wild. When the young couple gave birth to their baby Jill, their happiness seemed perfect. Daphne was overjoyed. She lived her dream, and now they were a small family. But a few years later, the young woman was to be hit by a stroke of fate. After 17 happily married years, Daphne lost her husband to a heart attack after David's death. The grieving woman found it difficult to continue her mission. She took time off to grieve, and she was so hurt that she thought she was going to give up her job on the reservation. She couldn't bear to roam the park without David, but something inside her said she had to keep going. She couldn't give up. She had to keep going. Her husband's dream of making the world a better place for animals had to live on in her. At that point, she had no idea what a great miracle she would experience. Daphne founded her own national park, called Nairobi National Park. She focused on elephants and rhinos and campaigned for a global ban on ivory. Over time, she has been honored with the highest Kenyan award for animal welfare. She was also appointed Woman Commander of the Order of the British Empire by Queen Elizabeth II. One day while visiting the park, she saw a newly orphaned elephant being brought in. The poor baby had just lost his entire family and was struggling to adjust to his new life. It wasn't the first time Daphne had fostered a baby elephant, but this time something was different. This elephant was clearly more affectionate than the others. There was a time when the elephant was so attached to Daphne that he refused to eat when she was away for 2 weeks. She named the elephant Camber. The woman spent a lot of time with the animal and gave him a lot of love. She cuddled him, played with him, or read him stories while he slept quietly beside her. Daphne had always had a deep bond with all the animals on the reserve, but this one was something special. The woman would have preferred to keep Camber, but of course, she knew that one day he would have to go when he was big enough to be released back into the wild. He had to make room for a new animal when the time came. Daphne hugged her little friend one last time. Saying goodbye is very difficult. In tears, the woman let the elephant go into the wild. She thought she would never see her faithful friend again. She could not know what would happen many years later. 28 years later, the national park was still there. Daphne was already an older lady and only helped out sporadically in the park. She had hip problems and could not work as hard as she used to. However, this did not prevent them from being in the national park almost every day and admiring their elephants. On an inconspicuous spring day, Daphne sat in the park as she often did and enjoyed the day, but something happened that day that amazed everyone. A herd of elephants roamed the area. This was, of course, not unusual in this area at first, but the herd stopped at the entrance to the reserve. Initially, people paid no attention to the event, but when the herd still hadn't moved on after 20 minutes, the employees became curious. What did the herd want here? Did they need help, or did they just happen to be standing in front of the gate for so long? When Daphne found out about the herd, she went to the said spot. She had gained a lot of experience with elephants over the years and was therefore very familiar with these pachyderms. Perhaps she could find out what caused the herd to appear. What happened next is unbelievable. As Daphne faced the animals, the largest elephant stepped out of the herd. The woman recognized from the animal's body language that he was not facing a human for the first time. It took a moment before she realized who was there in front of her camber. "Is it you?" the woman asked, slowly walking towards the animal. Then she hugged the elephant. He kept quiet and gently touched Daphne with his trunk. It was indeed Camber, the elephant whose life she had saved back then. After all these years, he has not forgotten his surrogate mother, and today he thanked her. Everyone was amazed at the trust the animal showed. The herd stayed on the reserve for a while before finally heading back into the wild. As you can see, elephants do not forget. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for free now.